What's going on, guys? We're here live, and today we're going to be talking about the PlayChoice 10, kind of my experience in the entire idea of buying a modern arcade in 2021. Now, if you know me and you're familiar with the channel, hey, if you're not, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I love a follow. That would be really appreciated. But I'm coming from a place where I did not own arcade products for my adulthood. My childhood, I played them as a kid, but never owned them, right? But a couple of years ago, I started getting into the home arcade space, right? So your arcade 1-ups, your AtGames Legends Ultimate. And if you look on this YouTube channel, we talk about that a lot here. Of course, we have a podcast with Retro Ralph every week on the 1-Up Weekly where we talk about, all things gaming, but there's been a big focus recently on home arcade for sure. Does that mean I'm done with home arcade? Not necessarily, but today we're going to focus on the PlayChoice 10, kind of the journey of me purchasing it, and some things that I learned about the entire thing. This whole, is it worth owning a real arcade? And I think I might have like a different perspective on it. But of course, I'd love to hear from you. The type of interaction I'd love on this video. If you're here in the live stream, we're going to be chatting about every 10 minutes. I'll look in this chat and see if you guys have any questions about things that I've been discussing so far. If you're watching this on the replay, don't forget to comment down below. If you know nothing about the PlayChoice 10 and I missed on something on the overview, feel free to comment and I will respond and try to help you out. Again, if you're an expert at a PlayChoice 10 and I clearly have no clue what I'm talking about, comment down below too and tell me how big of an idiot I am so I can learn, okay? So here's the thing. I'm going to take you through real quick this PlayChoice 10. We're gonna do something you might be familiar with if you're into Zoom, right? You share screen. So we're gonna share some screen tonight. We're gonna do some screen sharing. This is really simple. I'm gonna show you pictures because I'm lazy. And it's easy to just be like, hey, check out these pictures. But this is interesting. So I wanted to get a PlayChoice, so I reached out to an arcade owner in my area. I live in Des Moines. And this arcade is in Grimes. And I reached out to this guy and I said, hey, you own a lot of arcades. You probably know how to get them, right? So we started having a conversation. And yeah, he does restorations of arcades. He owns over 400 arcades himself. And he actually has physical arcades where, you come and pay $10 and you have free play. It's all retro, mostly retro stuff and maybe some redemptions. So he found a PlayChoice in his, a friend of his had one, guy in Omaha, and this is what it looked like when he sent me a picture. And I was like, oh man, that thing has seen better days, right? And I was unsure whether or not this was going to be, the right thing to do. But he was talking about a price of around $1,000 that if I paid him that amount, that he could do a full restoration of this unit. He would buy it, do the restoration, and we started becoming friendly, and he asked me questions about, how well do I know electronics, and I gave him my background of Console Kits, which is a company that I owned where I modified Nintendo hardware, and he goes, okay, so if you need to work on the arcade on the inside, you know what you're doing. I'm like, I think so. But something that I'm not very good with is like the outside of the cabinet, like painting and sanding. It's just kind of not my thing. I would love to get into that, but I don't really have the time. And I know if I tried, I probably just never would do it, right? So anyway, those are a couple pictures of it. So here's the deal with this guy. He's like, look, I'll do this for you, but I'm really busy. It's going to be like a back burner thing. But what my other options were like $1,400 for a unit. That I would have to go to Missouri and pick up myself. So that means I got to drive there. I got to get a truck. And this guy's like, look, I'll deliver it for less than that. And I'll do the restoration. Now, we'll get into this later, but the deal was actually I had to buy 2 cabinets. And the other one's a Neo Geo MVS, which I should be getting next week. So I'm really excited about that. We'll talk about that more a little bit later. So let's take a look at what he delivered me. Now, it took a couple months to get it. If you've been following the channel for a while, I've been saying since like summer that I bought a PlayChoice 10. So I paid him a long time ago, but then, things got tough, right? And it's not just him, but, the industry, the entertainment industry got difficult. And this guy on the side owns like 6 physical arcades that closed down. So he's he was struggling, right? So I was like, dude, we're good. Like, I don't think you're gonna rip me off, and he didn't. He hooked me up. So here's some pictures of it, and this is the after, and I'm like, dude, you killed it. It's beautiful. The CRT, I hope it comes over well in the pictures. The CRT is just amazing. If you turn it off, there's like a little bit of burn in that you can see, kind of like a game over, but it's only when it's off. And like if you're looking really close, it's not like far away you can see it. And while you're playing the game, you can't see it at all. And I tried to get some good pictures, and it's probably hard to show. So I'm going to show a video. I think I have a video that I put together. Yeah, so here is the PlayChoice 10. Now, if you're not familiar with a PlayChoice, it basically is Nintendo hardware, but there is some differences to the Nintendo hardware. The PPU that's inside it, that's a picture processing unit, has the ability to do RGB out. So that means all those three major colors are going directly to that CRT. That's different than the original Nintendo hardware, which only did like a composite out without any modifications. So that's the arcade board, and it takes these PCBs, the little game slots, that are different than the Nintendo. Now, one thing that I've learned, and that I didn't know before this, I ended up picking up the game Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And I figured when I got Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, it would be exactly the same as the NES version. But I was wrong. It had a battery. And I know, and as you probably know, when you turn on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, why is there a battery? You know, there isn't a battery on the NES version. You have to type in the code. But on this version, there's a battery. So super excited about that. It's because it tracks your high scores. So some of the games, and I don't know which ones are like this, but I know for sure the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out has changes to it. So that's really exciting. So my original plan was to collect like all of the PlayChoice carts. They range, like I thought, for about $50 to $100, and you can find them on eBay. I decided to go another route. As you probably saw in the video here, right there, that's a power pack. So a power pack is, what is that? RetroRGB made this. He's been in the industry for a very long time. It actually doesn't take an SD card. It takes like a CF slot. It's not really a big deal, but it allows you to emulate it's like emulating a cartridge, right? It's got like an FPGA on the inside. It can emulate the actual cartridge. It's designed for an actual NES to be able to play, you know, all 700 of the and more of the NES games. But you can buy that in conjunction with what's called a game link. So you can get those. There's a website for it. I'll put all the links in the description for any of this. I think it's called playchoice10.com, pc-10.com. And the guy who makes these, it makes an adapter so you can play NES games on the arcade board. So what I did was I took the power pack that's made for the NES, put it into the game link, which cost about, actually, I've had this power pack for a couple of years. And I also have an EverDrive, the EverDrive N8, and I kind of like the EverDrive a little bit better. So this one's just been sitting on shelf doing nothing. I was like, this is perfect. You know, so instead of spending thousands of dollars on all of the arcade games, which I was willing to do at like $50 a pop. I even told my wife, I said, look, over the next couple of years, I'm going to collect these PlayChoice 10 games because I really want to own a piece of arcade history, especially Nintendo, because it goes all the way back to my childhood. So I started buying some of these games. The system only came with, I think it was Kung Fu, Double Dragon, and Contra. And I was super excited that I got Contra with the unit. That's a really good title. It's probably worth $100 just for Contra. But some of these other games are only worth maybe about $50. So I went ahead and bought Excitebike, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. I'm going to go on eBay. I'm going to try to find good deals, you know. I'm going to make offers, and I love doing that stuff, like reaching out to different people that are selling it and be like, hey, what if I bought 2 or 3 from you? Could I get like 3 of them for like $100? And I started doing that. So I got my favorite games. I think I got Russian Attack for only $60. Mario 3 cost like $100. Tyson was a little more than $100. And I think actually Golf, that came with the unit as well. But then I started looking into it. There's about, I can't remember off the top of my head, 30 some original. If I wanted to collect the whole set, it's only like 50 games. It's like they only really made 50 some games for the PlayChoice, something like that. If you go on eBay, there's like a whole bunch of other games you can buy, like Galaga, which was never made for it. And that's what someone's doing, is basically making clone PCB parts for the Nintendo PlayChoice. And I wasn't really into that. I was like, why would I spend $100 some on a game that's basically a clone that was never really made for the original PlayChoice? And then I started looking in if I actually wanted to get the entire collection. I found this guy that actually owns 2 of the entire set, right? And I was like, he was gonna sell a whole bunch of them. But I started, hey, Garage Gamer, it's not pre-recorded. I'm just focusing on my little presentation right now, and then I'll talk to the chat in just a moment. Yeah, see, we're live, dude. This is live. So lost my train of thought. So check this out. At a certain point, I started seeing some of these games are rare, and they're like $300 or $400. And so my investment into, buying all of these games started to go away really quick. I was like, no, I'm not going to spend that much money on collecting all these games. And that's why I made the justification where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do the NES Game Link with a power pack, and then I'll call it a day. Some of the things that I found in the unit, if you have a power pack, you can download a ROM called the 240p Suite. The 240p Suite is, designed by this guy named Artemio, and it's been ported to various consoles. Great guy. And so it allows you to go through and see if there's any issues with your setup, And what I did find was the monitor is off just a little bit when it comes to, horizontally. It's got a little overscan issue on the left-hand side. You can kind of see the arrow, is overlapped. So not a big deal. Something that I think I can tune in and fix just fine. And then I was actually playing some of the games on it, and it's not even really a bother. Like when you're actually playing the game, that little bit of overscan doesn't really make a difference. So again, let me rush through some of these pictures here. I think the cabinet is gorgeous. Hopefully these images come through. And that's the selection screen. So when you boot up the game, the way I have it configured, when you turn it on, you got to power it in. There is a switch on the back. There's no way to adjust the volume. So again, if we're talking about someone who's used to home arcade, there's no volume control on this. There's no power button that's right there on the control panel. And it's kind of funny. I feel like owning arcade 1-ups and AtGames Legends Ultimate, it kind of makes me feel like I got spoiled, because they got this really cool interface, and then the PlayChoice 10 is similar to that, where it's a multi-arcade system. You can play multiple games, but it's authentic. It's the real arcade machine. So you can use the buttons on the deck to select the different games, and then you start it, and then you can back out and reset it. And this unit that I actually have, I have it configured for free play. It was designed in the arcade to take coins, and you would play for a certain amount of minutes, and if you ran out of coins or time, it would prevent you from playing anymore. But you can kind of go in and select different games. The way it was configured for me is just free play. You just go in and you can play whatever game you want, and there's no timer to back you out. Let's see. So anyway, that's my quick explanation of what I have, kind of the journey of getting it. I was going to show you real quick, kind of exciting. The guy who did the work for me is Old School Pinball Arcade. He has a company. He does the restorations. He's right here in my area. This is the Grimes arcade that he has. That is really, really awesome. I've been there a few times, but I haven't been there lately. But he has all of these units. And what's really exciting is when things get back to normal, he said that I could come into his arcade after nights and do a live show, do a live, maybe a 1-up weekly, or a Console Kits live stream where we go to all of these various arcades. He said if I wanted to, he'd give me the keys and he'd let me go to all of his different places. He also has tons of pinball machines. I went there last year and he had a lot of cool stuff. So So that's pretty exciting. I'm hoping to be working with him again. The next thing that he plans on, delivering to me soon is a Neo Geo NVS. So I'm excited about that. And that unit does not come with anything on the inside. And I like that. I said it was in really good condition already. And I said on that one, I want to put together everything on the inside. All he's leaving me basically is the CRT in good condition and the JAMA, everything JAMA ready. But I bought the MVS parts. I bought 160 in one Neo Geo cart. Maybe I'll get a Neo SD one day. So I'm excited to be playing around with that. So let me get into the chat, and then I'll talk a little bit about what it's like owning a home arcade versus a real arcade. And I think there's some interesting things that you'll definitely find interesting. So thank you, Zohar, so much for the super chat. It says, dude, just get a Legends Gamer Pro and coin op. 1,600 games. It's so sick. I know, like, you could play all those NES games. Like, why would you ever want real hardware? Very good point, Zohar. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat here. He says, I think you should have Super Mario Bros., Super Mario 2, Excitebike, Punch-Out, Contra, Balloon Fight. So I'm almost there. So I have Mario 1, I have Excitebike, I have Punch-Out, I have Contra, I have those physical ones. What I don't have is Balloon Fight, and I don't have Super Mario Brothers 2. But Retro Ralph says he has a spare Super Mario Brothers 2, and he's promised me that he's going to send it to me. But you know how lazy that guy is. I mean, Zohar knows. He knows personally how long that guy takes to ship things, right? Right? Anyway. Okay, so Nick says, sell my wife on us getting one. Okay, real quick, Nick. Now, I know recently, Nick, that you bought a Street Fighter cabinet. What's nice about the PlayChoice 10 is if you get the original hardware, it is a multi-game unit. It was intended that way. And so you can kind of have fun with it like I have. Like I bought it, and for the next several weeks, I started filling up the slots, and that was a lot of fun. And then it's easy to mod, like I described. Like, you can throw in a game link, which was $130, throw in a power pack, it's like another $100, and you can play any NES game. Now, that's limited. It's going to look really good compared to like the original Nintendo. Again, because the original Nintendo only puts out composite video. I mean, this is what's so cool about the PlayChoice 10 in history. About 10 years ago, people were taking the picture processing unit out of the PlayChoice 10 and putting it in a normal Nintendo. And the reason why is that would add the ability to give you RGB out on an original Nintendo. But a lot of people didn't really like that, because it's like, is there a PlayChoice 10 out there that like no longer could be used? Because you've salvaged and taken out that chip that's required for it to run. But since then, there's this guy from, I think he's Australian, and he built what's called the Nes Rgb that allows you to do a modification to the original Nintendo. And when you do that, they discovered that you can put through forums, people figured this out and posted on forums years ago, that you can put the PPU that's made for the American version into a debug mode, and there's these little data lines that actually submits data that you can actually derive the RGB from, and they built a little kit around it so you can actually get high quality, like a component video or even HDMI. The HD NES, which is sold by GameTech, is designed off that same technology, made by the same guy that does the analog stuff. And that's a mod kit that you can put inside the NES console to be able to give you HDMI out on the original hardware, which is another way to make your original NES look really good. So I'm into all that, and I'm excited about that. So by owning the PlayChoice 10, I don't have to do any modifications to be able to get a really high quality picture on a CRT. It like came all together. So that's pretty exciting. That's my sell, I guess. And if you can find one, can you find one? Because in my area, I was looking for a while, and I found one. Again, I found one in Missouri, and that was it, right? In my area. Now, maybe you live somewhere else, and you're like, what are you talking about, Justin? There's like PlayChoices everywhere. In my area, there's just like an entire year. In fact, going back to the original story, that was my original plan, was to get a PlayChoice 10, and then Arcade 1-Up came out. And I was like debating there. I was going to pay a guy here locally to build me a PlayChoice 10. because there's another guy locally that like designs cabinets. Like he'll handcraft cabinets that are clones, and he does really good work. And he has like, he'll do an NES, like a Nintendo cabinet. I was going to pay him $2,000 to build me a reproduction PlayChoice 10. Then Arcade 1-Up came out, and I was like, these are like $250, $300. Let me just try those out and see if that, satisfies the itch. And it did for a while. And then eventually I was able to save up some money, and I was like, maybe I still want to get the real arcade. All right, so let's see. You see, Mandy, you gotta get with Nick, your husband, and say, figure out if you're gonna get one too. Anyway, so I described, what games I'm gonna put in it. I've kind of done that already. I think these are really, really decent units for sure. Some people may not be interested. So it's a modded PlayChoice 10. I mean, it's a reversible mod, right? I can literally take the game link out, and then now it's not a modded. So I didn't like solder anything on the inside. I didn't ruin anything on the inside. I mean, the decal on the outside has been replaced, and it's been repainted to the same color of blue as it was before. But I mean, that's part of the restoration process. He also replaced all the T molding on it. It looks very, very good. When I did get the unit, pretty quickly afterwards, the marquee went out, and I was talking to Ralph. I was like, "Yeah, sure enough, the marquee went out like a week or two later." But I just bought the parts to replace that. I literally spent like $6 at Home Depot and was able to restore the marquee light. So that was like not a big deal. Let's see. So, Retro, I'm jealous, bro. That's cool. Finally, I got something that makes someone else jealous. That's rare. But see, here's the thing. Mike says the PlayChoice 10 was not blue. Versus was blue. Dude, I don't have it with me, but do some research. I did find a catalog that showed like a variety of all the different PlayChoices. And there is a catalog from the 80s that showed a variant of the PlayChoice 10 with one monitor that was blue. And to me, that seemed like the rare one, right? And check this out. On the back of the unit, it's not a Versus. It has a serial number for the PlayChoice 10. So I think I have a rare PlayChoice 10. So rare that Mike, who loves PlayChoice 10, didn't even know about it. So there you go. Of course, now I'm going to comment down below by someone who, has owned 17 PlayChoice 10 since 83. He's like, actually, Justin. Anyway. Let's see. So I want to talk about, here's the deal. Who here hit one in the live chat if you own, let's do, this is going to be crazy. So hit one if you own a physical arcade. Like a physical, old school, super heavy arcade. Hit one. Okay. And we'll let that see. So Arcade Eric, I mean, he's got to own an arcade, right? He's freaking Arcade Eric, right? Yeah. Mandy, I know she does. She's getting into that, and they're looking for deals. Look, this guy, I can't even count how many arcades he owns, right? Yeah. Zohar's not yet. Okay. So I'm going to speak to you, Zohar, just for a second. So, yeah, let's get some more of these. Give me a 0 and only 3/4, or just type in 3/4 if you're like, I only have 3/4. Because I need to speak to both of you just for a moment. People that own the physical arcades and people that own only the home arcade. Don't worry, I'm not going to offend either one. I promise. Okay, so like Red only owns 3/4. Okay, so check this out. Ralph keeps on, he's like talking about how amazing the original arcade is. And he owns like 17,000 arcades, right? And he's my best friend and we talk a lot. And, I was like, okay, fine. Yeah. You're right. I love history too. Okay, fine. I'll get an arcade. He didn't really convince me like that. I'm just making that up. But check this out. So I get this. And the guy's like, okay, I'm going to deliver it to your garage. It's super cold when he delivered it. This was a couple months ago, middle of the winter. And it was freezing. It was literally, this was when there was that cold snap. If you guys are familiar with that, like it was -30, I think, wind chill in the Midwest, super cold. And he was like, I can deliver it on this Friday. And I go to my wife, I'm like, I got to make a room in the garage because he's going to deliver it in the garage tomorrow. She's like, it's the coldest it's ever been in Iowa for a really, really long time. And I'm all like worried, like, how do I get it in the house? I have a couple steps to get into the house. And he said he won't help me. He's just going to do a garage drop off. That's the deal. I mean, he's not charging me, right? Like I paid him a long time ago. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to charge you to deliver or whatever. But he's like, I'm just going to drop off at your garage. So he puts it in my garage, and I'm super worried, right? That it's going to have problems. Like the CRT is going to be -30. Like, I don't know if a CRT can operate at that cold. I don't know. I got to get in the house soon, right? But then I had to call a buddy, and I had to buy a dolly to get it up freaking 3 steps. I tried to do it myself. I went and bought a dolly, and I literally took the PlayChoice 10 and tried to get it up 3 steps. I'm sitting at that first one. There's like ice. I'm like de-icing, dude. I'm like shaving making sure it's all free. I'm like, can I get over this one little bump? Couldn't do it by myself. My wife couldn't help me because she has an injury, right? So it was like literally she couldn't lift things. It would be like she'd probably hurt herself. And my daughter's 12. So I called a buddy the next day, and it's COVID, and we're all worried, and he puts a mask on. I put a mask on. He comes outside, and he just, we try to bump it up, and we put it in my office. That's why it's not here. This is the basement. I do these videos from the basement. And my plan was I was going to put it down here. But it was that hard to just get it into my office. And like everything changed. I have this office that has a piano in it, right? So it's half TVs because I do software development for television. So I got 3 or 4 TVs in the office. I got a piano in there, and like my wife and my daughter come in for piano lessons, and I got to leave, and I'm on Zoom calls, and all of a sudden I have an arcade in there. So my wife's like, okay, we're going to move the piano into the living room, and then you can reclaim the entire office for your work. But in the corner, boom, you have a PlayChoice 10. And with that little bit of difference, I might be able to put the Neo Geo MVS in there as well. My wife's like, you could probably fit 2 in there. That's it. But I don't think these things are ever coming down into this basement. On the other hand, if I want to move one of these arcade cabinets anywhere in the house, I don't have to call anybody. No one's saying that like it's real. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing with home arcade. Even my pinball, the Star Wars pinball that I have, is in the exact spot it was when I unpacked it. Because that thing's kind of heavy. And it's like, I thought about, well, maybe I could put that in my office if I got a couple other things. But I'm like, I'm too lazy to even lift it upstairs because that thing's heavy. It's 3/4. Take the riser off, grab it, unplug it, take it upstairs. It doesn't mean I don't love the PlayChoice 10 that I have. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle. Like, it's a thing. Now, I mean, it changes everything for me because eventually if we buy a house and I do want to own more arcades, I'm going to be picky about what houses that I have. Like, I'm literally thinking, okay, is it possible to buy a house that there's no stairs to get into? And every possible place that I could ever put an arcade is on that main floor. So it's pretty interesting. Again, it's not really deterring me because I have this plan of like, maybe I'll get the Neo Geo NVS and I may fix it up. I may eventually flip it. I could even break even. That's fine. Not looking to make a profit, but I really would like to get an original Street Fighter. And then maybe make that, like put a Mr. Cade in that, because a Mr. Cade could reproduce the original hardware, and they're getting a lot better in the CPS range. You can play Neo Geo, and then the Street Fighter already has the 6-button layout. Basically, I want to do an ETA Prime mod that you would do on an arcade 1-up, but like big boy style on a real Street Fighter, but with an FPGA-based Mr. Cade that is emulating things at the schematic level. That's kind of like my dream, like a year from now. So that would be really cool. But I have mixed feelings. It doesn't mean I'm done with home arcade. I mean, I own several in my basement. When things open back up and I have family over, I think this is going to be a party room. You know, maybe we'll move some of it into the other room, and they definitely have their place. But I wanted to kind of speak to those people out there that have the home arcade. They only have the 3/4, and I want to let you know it's okay. I feel you. And I want to talk a little bit about that real quick. I kind of planned a longer stream on this topic, but I'll just give you a short version of it. But when it comes to home arcade, when it comes to full-size arcades, or even Arcade 1-Up versus Legends Ultimate versus, I don't know, the Neo Geo MVSX versus the iArcade and versus whatever comes out next, I think the answer of which one is best isn't even the same to you or to me this year versus the next year versus the next year. What I'm trying to say is there's a couple people that have commented on my videos, and that's one advantage of being a YouTuber, where a lot of people will comment on videos and I get to read all these different stories, right? And there was this one person that said that they bought a AtGames Legends Ultimate and they lived in an apartment. It's all they could fit in their apartment. And they were like that for the first year when the AtGames Legends Ultimate first came out. And then they ended up buying a house. And when they bought the house, that gave them the freedom to kind of... And he was like, loved the AtGames, like, this is all he ever needs. But then because his situation changed and he had a spare room, now his room would have had that arcade looked empty to him. And he ended up selling his Legends Ultimate and buying a whole bunch of Arcade 1-Ups to kind of give that, you know, got a game room now. But I've heard other stories. That's the end of that guy's stories. But I've heard of other stories of people, this is the gateway drug, you know, like they love the Arcade 1-Ups. And then they buy the real thing. So that's a thing. But what I'm trying to say, and I haven't really heard anyone else say this, is what if the debate of which one's the best is not even really debatable to a single person? Like, you may change your mind this year versus 3 years from now. Like, what if 3 years from now you don't even like any of the home arcade because your life completely changed for some other reason, and you discover that there's a person down the street that wants to sell a whole bunch of authentic arcades? You're like, dude, I'm going to do that now. That's cool. Hobbies can change. And I don't know where I stand in that, because, I mean, if I had all the money in the world and I had all the space in the world, I'd probably own all of it, right? Because they do have their own advantages. Like the PlayChoice 10 that I have, some of the things that I kind of wish it had, but I don't want to add because I don't really want to mod the cabinet. It's kind of like a piece of history. I kind of wish that there was a volume knob right on the top. I kind of wish there was a power switch right on the top. It's actually complicated because it's kind of weird. I have my printer next to my PlayChoice 10 because it's my office, right? I need a place to put my printer, so there's a PlayChoice 10 and there's a printer next to it. It's not very sexy, but we're making it work, right? And what's really cool is I'm literally working every day looking at my monitor for work. TV's behind me for work. I look over to the side, freaking PlayChoice 10's right there. Makes my day. It has for like the last 3 months. It's really cool to like, damn, that's been in arcades for the last 10 or 20, 30 years. How many coins were put into that? How many different people played that unit? It's got like original buttons, original sticks, and maybe they were replaced, but they feel like the vintage ones, and they play great. They play awesome. It's cool to have that. So anyway, let me get into the chat here. There's a lot of chatty things here going on. Bobby says, had a full size year ago, sold it. Now I live in a place with a dock. So starting Friday to collect again with a, not familiar with this, a Vorx V3 cab. I found in mint condition and possibly a huge cyber sled. Cool. Very cool, man. Let's see. There's inner conversations. Zohar with another super chat. Thanks for the donation. He says, menu interface is everything. Pretty UIs are everything. I'm absolutely in love with the CoinOps X menu screen. In love. Nothing matters. Very cool, man. See, Mike. Yeah, you're not a complete loser if you own a 3/4. I think. Anyway, let me scroll down. Get out of that. Some people are talking about, man, Zohar's just going on about like the CoinOps app, it's better than the date that he had recently. That's freaking awesome, man. He's super, super excited about that. Yeah, let's talk about Zohar and his girlfriend. We should do that. See, JJ says there's no shame in the 3/4. And I think what is a PlayChoice 3/4 cab? It'd be really cool. This has been a conversation for a while. Would it be cool if PlayChoice, if Arcade 1-Up made a Nintendo cab? There's a guy in our community that keeps, we've chatted a little bit, and it's kind of weird story. I don't know if you guys were in this live stream, but there's this company that I used to work with that there used to be like this customer that we worked with. And during a live stream, I was describing that. And it's like he worked there. It like he didn't work where I worked, but he worked the customer. It's kind of small world. Like literally, there's probably emails in my past that included this other guy, and we found each other on a live stream. His name's Alan, and he keeps sending me pictures. And he has a buddy that has basically taken the PlayChoice 10. And if he's here on the stream, or maybe you comment later if you catch this, I would love to share those pictures, but I won't. Because I didn't ask him specifically if I could share those pictures. I think he will maybe on the forum groups on Facebook. But what he did was he has a friend of his that knows, I think he said AutoCAD, software, 3D modeling software. And he has PlayChoice 10s and Nintendo cabinets, Donkey Kong versus cab. And he measured the exact dimensions of every nook and cranny, right? Reproduced that in the 3D model software. And then literally scaled it down to 3/4. And then they cut it, and they're painting it. And he's been sending me pictures. And boy, it's the closest thing that I've ever seen to like an actual Arcade 1-Up-ish reproduction of a Nintendo cabinet. It looks absolutely amazing. And I have to admit, even though I physically own a PlayChoice 10, like owning a reproduction unit that looks a lot like it, that's super light. Like, I want them to make it. I want someone to make it. I want someone to... The world needs something like that. The world needs those. I don't know. I just have something that I really love about those Nintendo cabinets. The look and feel are so good. Yeah, 3/4 scale, accurate scale would be really nice. Now, what he did was the one that he did. He does have a riser on it. Like he built like basically it looks. Yeah, I froze on this side. I'm not really sure. Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of the story of the PlayChoice 10, and my experience with it. I've been playing it off and on. It's not like an everyday thing, but when I have free time. Excite Bike is something that I was playing a lot. I was like, and I do remember playing Excite Bike on a PlayChoice 10 when I was a kid. All those memories kind of came back. It was across the street. I lived across the street from a Walmart, and they had a PlayChoice 10, and I would go there and I'd throw coins in, or anytime my mom was looking at the checkout counter, I'd be like, "Can I have a quarter?" And I would run and I'd put it in, and yeah. That kind of brought back some memories. Contra was really cool. It was a lot of fun. The first time I got the PlayChoice 10 Contra, I was like, does it work? Does it work? Up, up, down, down, left, right, B8. Come on. Yeah. 30 lives. So yeah, Nick, I don't have, Rygar is pretty sure Rygar is a PlayChoice 10 game. Let me show you real quick. There's a couple resources out there. One of them I think is just Wikipedia. So on Wikipedia, let me share my screen here. I'll kind of run through real quick some more information if you find it interesting. So on PlayChoice 10 for Wikipedia, they kind of break down two sections. There's a first party game, right? So if you check this out, I want to say so altogether there's 52 games according to Wikipedia. And so you can see the first party games are pretty light. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, Metroid, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I think I counted that right. So about 20 games that are first party, right? So look, you don't really see like a Zelda is not there. I mean, kind of wouldn't make sense. These are games that are more arcade. It's interesting that they threw Metroid in there because I think also Nintendo was like, these are previews. So like you go to the arcade, you can kind of play these, and these are games that you could buy for the actual Nintendo. Then there's a whole bunch of lists of third-party games. The rest of the games are third-party. So, for example, they have Mega Man 3, but not Mega Man 2. So that was one of the first games when I got the Power Pack and the Game Link all set up. I played Mega Man 2 because I really enjoy Mega Man 2, and that was actually really fun to play with joystick and buttons, like really fun. So I think there's going to be some games that don't translate well. They're console games that maybe not play very well. I've heard a lot of people say the Goonies for PlayChoice 10 is really awesome as well. Russian Attack is one of the third-party games that I got. So there's Rygar. So these are all ones that were actually made. I think maybe like Turtles would be a really good one to have, the arcade version of Turtles, the NES version, but it was originally made. And so there's a couple things I'm gonna show you real quick. So like if you go to eBay and you look for PlayChoice, hold on one second. Yeah, Robert N says, Mega Man was so nostalgic for me. My parents had a friend that worked at Blockbuster and would bring me Mega Man games when I was little. Yeah, so that's awesome, man. So if you go in here and you can see, like on eBay, you put in PlayChoice, you're going to see this is the game link. Now, the game link is being advertised on eBay. It's about $136, but the guy who, the guy who makes those, he has a website. I think it's pc-10.com, I want to say. Yeah, let me show you. So he has this website, and you can actually buy products directly from him. And if you do, like he has the NES Game Link. I think it's like $120. Yeah, so there's a little extra fee for eBay. So this is where I got it. You can pay a little bit extra, $10 more, and you can type in what you want the Game Link to say. I just thought NES Game Link was fine, so I just paid the $120. When you read on the site, there's kind of like history in here. It talks about like replacing your EEPROM, and it kind of was like, well, do I need to do that? But if you read in there, it says like the NES Game Link is compatible with every BIOS or BIOS EEPROM that's stock for the single or the dual monitor version. But I think you can buy these replacements if you have an altered one, maybe. I'm not really sure. But right here it says, that it's worked. It worked right away. No problem. Okay, so that's the PlayChoice 10 Game Link. The other thing is, as you can see, some of these prices, you got to be careful. And you go in here, and if you don't know, like, it's just very simply, I just showed you PlayChoice 10 for Wikipedia. It shows the actual carts that were actually created, by Nintendo or by third party. And Zelda is not included in that. So here it is. Well, you can get a Zelda for $139. So you look at that, look, there it is. The Legend of Zelda shows up, PlayChoice 10. It even has, if you have a dual screen for PlayChoice 10, it'll show these instructions on the top. Or in the case of mine, it's just the single screen. You know, you can press a button and it'll show you the instructions of the game. But what's nice about this eBayer, this person on eBay, he rightly puts right in the description. He says, The Legend of Zelda was never available for the PlayChoice 10. It goes on to explain that this basically is a clone. So the guy manufactures his own PlayChoice 10 carts, and then he flashes them with the ROMs from the NES. So this is his kind of aftermarket version, and you can kind of see none of the labeling are from Nintendo. But this is cool. Like, you could get this if you really wanted to. It has a battery, so you could do a game save for Zelda. It's cool that it exists. But to me, this just competes with get a Game Link and get a power pack. Or just get a Game Link and literally throw in Legends of Zelda. You don't necessarily need to spend the $140 for a reproduction. Okay, so that's explaining eBay has a lot of reproduction stuff, right? But then you go into something like this, and you can kind of see this is more authentic, and you can see there's this little label. See where it says Techno Bowl right there? That's kind of an indicator that this is an authentic board. You know, you got these little stickers in there, and it says 1988 from Nintendo. So you could pick this one up. It's see, that's what I'm saying. $140 for this used cart. But this, to be fair, this does come with a metal topper. And so these are little things that you can put, this is the little metal piece, and then that's the original kind of little banner, and you can set it on top of your cabinet like they did back in the day to kind of advertise. It's almost like a marquee on top of a marquee. Advertise some of the games that are in it. And so on that particular one, but like here, Paperboy, I think this is another, is this a reproduction? I think so. So you go, see, Paperboy was never available for PlayChoice 10. Again, I'm not bashing the guy that's creating that. Like, that's his business, whatever. I'm just advising you, if you're into this, you gotta look into it. What are you buying? Are you buying the clone? Or are you buying the authentic one? And which one do you actually want to get? But then you look at this guy, you know, he has the game Pinbot. He demonstrated on one of these PlayChoice 10s that's like a tabletop, which I would love to get. I think I saw one on eBay. It was like $3,000, but that would be really amazing. But this one, see, it has the Pinbot stickers on it, so it's authentic. It's only $74. And I was able to, you know, like, you can make offers to this, and maybe he'll go for $50, and that's kind of a fun game. And I did that with, I think, this guy, in fact. And I think this is the guy that showed me his Instagram, if I remember correctly. He just owns just tons of stuff, tons of Nintendo stuff. It was pretty spectacular. Here's this one that I was looking at. It's another PlayChoice countertop arcade. See these prices? $3,200. You can bid on it. These are pretty cool vintage units, but it's based on that same PlayChoice 10 hardware on the inside. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so then I started looking into the word rare. You see, like right here. Now you're getting in. It's starting to get expensive, so you can kind of appreciate how the hobby of collecting these PlayChoice 10s can kind of get out of hand. I don't know. I may pick up a couple of games here and there. I may sell a couple, do some buy and trade, or maybe the prices will vary on these units over time. Maybe the prices will come down. Maybe the prices will go up. So that could be an interesting thing. Anyway, so that's kind of been the thing that I've been doing and researching for the last couple months. It's been kind of fun. And got to read Zohar's super chat before he has a heart attack. So, someone to kiss, someone to miss. When you're in love with a feeling to be loved, to be loved. What a feeling to be loved. I don't remember how the melody went. Coin op sex forever. I butchered that. I don't even know the melody that he's talking about. Um, let's see. I guess it was a Neil Diamond song. Hey, thanks, Bob. And everyone out there that's expressing good vibes. Yeah, he says, Justin, you have to feel pretty good about your play choice now after seeing these prices. Yeah, that's a good point. I wasn't sure if I was getting a good deal, and the kind of indication was, I couldn't find a better deal in my area. So I'm sure there's some people out there that can find a PlayChoice 10 for like $500-$600 that's in mint condition, but it honestly is probably going to be pretty rare, I think. We'll just watch. There's going to be someone in the comments that's like, I got a PlayChoice 10 for $300. Screw these arcade one-ups. Did you know you can get one for only $300? Yeah, man, $3,200. You can get a lot of other arcade things for that price. So some of these things are just too rare, right? Pretty exciting. So what do you guys think, Oh, great. Hold on, Zohar's messaging me. So what do you guys think? If you're, into the home arcade, is this something that you could see yourself long-term doing? With, getting into getting into the physical arcade? Or is home arcade the way for you? And honestly, I don't know the answer for me. Oh, that's what it is, Zohar. Let's see how long I can get away with this. I'm going to share a screen just for a second. So this is what Zohar... I knew that line from somewhere, right? So he's referring to Akeem. To be loved, what a feeling, to be loved. I just realized I'm probably sharing screen without audio, so just give me 1 second. We're having a little fun on this live stream. I gotta share the audio. Boom. Let's see if they shut me down.
You're the way through here, Carnage Day, to be loved,
to be loved. What a feeling, to be loved. Shut up. Anyway, that's good. Let's see. So, yeah, $3,200. That's pretty expensive. Let's see what else we got going on in the chat here. Yeah, I checked Messenger, Zohar. Let me catching up here. See, Tony C. He's like, look, I got to play PlayChoice 10 for $300. All you guys are losers. It says a 2 monitor in good shape is worth about $3,000. Yeah, I think so. I'm not an expert. I did. Those are the numbers that I've been seeing as well. I've been looking on Facebook. There's some groups out there for like arcades. None of them are near my area, but yeah, I've been seeing some really good in shape dual screen. I think there's even one on eBay, unless it's sold. But when they go to a place like eBay, I think they kind of stick around for a while. Let me share my screen again. So here's one on eBay, and yeah, check it out. $3,500. Now here's an interesting thing. What do you guys think? And I don't know what to do on this, but let's see. Yeah, $3,500. This one's kind of cool. It has this like, mine doesn't have this like right there. It kind of comes up a little higher. There's like a little shelf. So you got dual monitor, one at the bottom, and then at the top you have game selection, right, or game info. But also, it's got the gun. Come on, what's the line? What's the line? You mean you have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy. So I almost want to get one of these guns just to be like, play Hogan's Alley on a PlayChoice 10 would be kind of cool, kind of like Back to the Future 2. A little bit like Back to the Future 2. But these guns, my unit never came with a gun, So should I mod it? Should I add a gun and wire it in? And then I could play Hogan's Alley, Duck Hunt. I mean, it comes with a CRT, right? Can I on a single unit? Can I add the mod? So I was kind of looking into that, and even eBay, if you do the PlayChoice 10, I think I get notifications whenever anything PlayChoice 10 related comes up, and one just came up today, I think, and I thought it was $169 for the gun, like the authentic gun. And yeah, see here, get the optical light gun. They have various versions of it. This one's been around for a while, actually. Yeah, so like maybe like this one. Oh, it's a pink one. Should I get a pink one? But if I did go that route, I kind of got to learn exactly, like, is it just as simple as there's a couple wires that connect to the board, and then then it works. So I kind of got to look and see. I would assume the board's compatible, or was that only on the Versus and the dual screen? Yeah, see, Pitbull, he knows. He says the PCBs are different for Nintendo. Yeah, so I got to look into that. Not easy to do with a Nintendo cab. Yeah, I mean, in my head, I was like, I got a gnarly way to do it. I mean, I own like 50 original Nintendos, but it would be really dumb to like gut a PlayChoice 10 and put original Nintendo in it. I mean, I could do an RGB out, like basically arcade-ize an NES, but that's just dumb. Then I just lost all the authenticity. He's like, nope. Not that I collect a lot of Nintendo stuff. I think that was sarcasm. Yeah, not easy to do. Yeah, I do remember growing up, and I know I've played Duck Hunt, but I don't remember. I mean, I may have played a Mario versus Duck Hunt cabinet that had a gun on it. May or may not have been a PlayChoice. I think the one that was at Walmart when I was a kid was a single monitor. It'd be really cool. It totally is not true. But what if the one I played at Walmart is the one that I have? It's probably not true. But can I pretend that? Is that okay? Or is that really cheesy? Can I pretend that I own the one from my childhood? I mean, likely the one that I have, like, was in a completely different state. For like, it's probably a unit that was sold in California or something. Who knows? Anyway, so thank you so much for joining. I think I kind of ran out of steam on this stream, but I really enjoyed you guys hanging out for this. Again, if you're watching this on the replay and I said anything completely dumb and don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. I'm seeing stream film saying, try to return it to Walmart. Old story. That Sam Walmart I bought and returned things at. Quick story. I bought a whole bunch of Super Nintendo games with money that I made by going to Target and buying a Super Nintendo that came with a game for $99. Taking the game out. Taking the sticker that said it came with a game. And then returning it at Walmart for $129. And then I just did that over and over and over again. And then waited a while and did it over and over again. And I think, if I remember correctly, I magically had enough money to buy more games. And I think I returned those. And then I ended up buying a Virtual Boy. I had the Virtual Boy for a while, played it. My mom said, I heard it gives you headaches. And I was like, I think I believed her, but really it was just like I didn't like it. And then I returned it. So that's the origin of that story. And yeah, I can't return this PlayChoice. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed. See, I just did it over and over again. And that's how I bought a PlayChoice. Good job, Stringer. He figured it out. Breaking the law. Yeah, we did a lot of weird stuff back then. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a very different format than I've ever done on this channel. Of course, it's not about Arcade 1-Up, so no one's going to watch it. So, I'll get it like 500 views. But this is a video that I wanted to make. And I'm hoping that a video that I wanted to make is something that is enjoyable to you, the viewers of my channel, and hopefully it wasn't completely boring. But thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you guys on tomorrow. I think we're doing a One Up Weekly episode, and should be a lot of fun. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.